The sound of a single gunshot shattered the morning quiet at Campus Crossings Apartments. It was 8 o'clock on a winter morning when maintenance worker Michael Hedgepeth heard the explosive crack echo between buildings. He paused, alert and concerned. Something wasn't right. The sound hung in the crisp air, then faded into silence. In the moments that followed, a woman was seen rushing to a burgundy SUV. Her movements hurried and deliberate. She slipped into the driver's seat and sped away, leaving behind more than just tire marks on the asphalt. At the bottom of a stairwell, scattered personal items marked a trail leading to a body. A young woman lay motionless, her future erased in a single moment of violence. No one yet knew that this scene would expose a complex triangle of deception, jealousy, and fatal obsession that had been building for 14 months. January 4th, 2007, began like any other winter day in Durham, North Carolina. Students at North Carolina Central University were returning from holiday break, preparing for a new semester. The temperature hovered around 40 degrees as the sun rose over the Campus Crossings apartment complex, a popular residence for ambitious students pursuing their dreams. That morning, residents followed their usual routines, brewing coffee, gathering books, heading to early classes. The complex buzzed with the ordinary rhythm of academic life. Few noticed the burgundy SUV that entered the parking lot around 7:30, or the woman who sat inside, watching and waiting with determined patience. Durham, known for its prestigious universities and thriving research community, rarely saw violent crime in these student areas. The city prided itself on being a safe haven for education and innovation. No one could have predicted that this ordinary Thursday would forever change how residents viewed their security. Denita Smith was more than just another statistic in a crime report. At 25 years old, she stood on the cusp of extraordinary achievement. A graduate student at North Carolina Central University, she had dedicated 6 years to higher education, pursuing her passion for journalism and photography with remarkable talent and dedication. Her work had already earned her a coveted fellowship with the New York Times, an honor that signaled her exceptional promise. Those who knew Denita described a woman of warmth, intelligence, and unwavering determination. Her mother, Sharon Smith, often recalled how the camera was her friend, her way of expressing herself. Through her lens, Denita captured moments of truth and beauty, telling stories that might otherwise have gone untold. As a photojournalist for the student newspaper, she gave voice to campus issues and community concerns. Engaged to be married to Jameer Stroud, a police officer in Greensboro, Denita believed she had found her perfect match. Their relationship had blossomed during undergraduate years, surviving the challenges of distance as they pursued their respective careers. That morning, as she left her apartment for class, Denita carried with her plans and dreams that would never be realized. If this story already has you questioning how well we truly know the people closest to us, you're not alone. What drives someone to commit such a calculated act of violence? What warning signs might have been missed? As we explore Denita's story, we'll uncover crucial lessons that could potentially save lives. Hit that subscribe button right now to join our community of critical thinkers who look beyond headlines to understand the psychology behind true crime. Turn on notifications so you never miss our in-depth analysis of cases that challenge our perceptions of human relationships. Your engagement helps us continue bringing these important stories to light. Denita Smith's journey to academic excellence began long before her arrival at North Carolina Central University. From an early age, she displayed an exceptional curiosity about the world and a natural talent for storytelling. Her high school teachers recognized her gift for communication, encouraging her to pursue journalism as more than just a hobby. By the time she entered college, Denita had already developed a distinctive eye for photography, capturing moments that others might overlook. Her undergraduate years were marked by consistent academic achievement, earning her a place on the dean's list multiple semesters in a row. Professors noted her ability to blend technical skill with genuine empathy in her reporting, a rare combination that set her work apart from her peers. As a graduate student, Denita specialized in investigative photojournalism, focusing on underrepresented communities in Durham. Her course load was demanding, yet she maintained excellence across all subjects. Classmates remembered her as someone who elevated group projects with her insights and dedication. She wasn't content to simply complete assignments. She approached each task as an opportunity to create meaningful work that could impact viewers and readers. The New York Times Fellowship represented more than just professional recognition for Denita. It was validation of her unique perspective and technical skill. Out of hundreds of applicants nationwide, her portfolio had stood out for its authentic portrayal of community stories and masterful composition. This prestigious opportunity would have connected her with industry leaders and opened doors to international assignments. Denita had mapped out a 5-year career plan that began with completing her master's thesis on visual storytelling in marginalized communities. She envisioned creating documentary series that would bring attention to overlooked social issues, combining her journalistic integrity with her artistic vision. Friends recalled her excitement about potentially working overseas, particularly in regions where women photojournalists were rare. Her professors believed she was destined for award-winning work, possibly even Pulitzer consideration in her future. Denita wasn't just pursuing a career. She was answering a calling to document truth through her lens. "My daughter never just entered a room. She illuminated it," Sharon Smith would often say when speaking about Denita. The bond between mother and daughter was extraordinary, built on mutual respect and shared values. Sharon had raised Denita to believe in her capabilities without limitation, encouraging her to pursue excellence in everything she attempted. Family gatherings always included Denita's camera, as she documented holidays and celebrations with the same attention she gave her professional assignments. These personal archives now serve as precious memories for a family left with an unfillable void. She captured our family history through her eyes, her father once remarked, showing us details we might have missed. Denita called her mother nearly every day, sharing triumphs and challenges of graduate school life. Sharon described these conversations as highlights of her day, noting how Denita would transform even ordinary campus events into fascinating stories. "She was so excited about her future with Jameer," Sharon recalled in a tearful interview. She talked about their wedding plans, the home they would create together, even names for their future children. The Smith family described Denita as their North Star, a guiding light whose ambition inspired everyone around her to reach higher. Denita first crossed paths with Jameer Stroud during her sophomore year at a campus fundraiser in 2003. Friends recalled how their initial conversation lasted for hours, covering everything from photography to their shared love of jazz music. Jameer, a criminal justice major with aspirations of joining law enforcement, was immediately drawn to Denita's passionate perspective on social issues. Their courtship progressed with thoughtful intention. Jameer would leave notes of encouragement in Denita's textbooks before major exams. She would surprise him by photographing moments he mentioned wanting to remember. Classmates described them as complementary forces, his pragmatic approach balancing her creative vision. By their senior year, they had become inseparable. Denita's best friend, Edith Kearns, later testified that Denita described Jameer as a gentleman, intelligent, active, involved, well-rounded, kind, respectful, protective, and loving. In Denita's eyes, she had found her perfect partner, someone who supported her ambitions while building his own meaningful career. After graduation, Denita and Jameer faced their first significant challenge as a couple. While Denita remained in Durham to pursue her master's degree at North Carolina Central University, Jameer accepted a position with the Greensboro Police Department, creating a 50-mile separation between them. They approached this distance with optimism, viewing it as temporary and manageable. Their relationship adapted to new rhythms. Weekend visits became precious time together, carefully planned and anticipated. They maintained connection through daily phone calls, often late at night after Jameer's evening shifts and Denita's study sessions. Friends noted how they prioritized these conversations, declining social invitations that would interfere with their scheduled time to connect. The couple developed traditions to bridge the physical gap, sending care packages before stressful work weeks, sharing identical meals while video chatting, and planning future vacations as milestones to anticipate. Denita kept a calendar marking days until they would reunite permanently after her graduation. Their engagement, announced in early 2006, reinforced their commitment despite the separation. What Denita couldn't have known was that the geographic distance was creating emotional space for deception. While she remained fully invested in their relationship, Jameer's attention had begun to wander in ways that would ultimately lead to tragedy. Shannon Crawley entered Jameer's life through workplace proximity at the Greensboro Police Department. As a 911 dispatcher, she interacted regularly with officers, including Jameer. A single mother in her early 30s, Shannon projected confidence and independence that masked deeper vulnerabilities. Colleagues described her as professional and competent at work, giving no indication of the obsessive attachment she would develop. Their connection began innocuously, casual conversations during shift changes, occasional lunch breaks shared in the department cafeteria. By late 2004, these interactions had evolved into something more intimate. According to later testimony, what started as friendship transformed into a physical relationship that Jameer would later characterize as casual, but Shannon viewed as deeply significant. Shannon was fully aware of Denita from the beginning. Jameer never concealed his engagement, yet Shannon pursued the relationship despite this knowledge. She kept photographs of Jameer in her home and introduced him to her child, suggesting she envisioned a future beyond what he had presented as temporary. When Shannon became pregnant in mid-2005, the relationship reached a critical juncture. The pregnancy ended in abortion, a decision that investigators believe marked a turning point in Shannon's emotional stability. While Jameer considered their physical relationship concluded after this event, Shannon remained emotionally invested. She began monitoring his movements, driving past his apartment at unusual hours, and, most alarmingly, researching Denita online. What made Shannon particularly dangerous was her access to information through her dispatcher position. She understood police procedures, communication protocols, and potentially had insight into investigation techniques, knowledge that would later factor into her actions and attempts to avoid detection. We've reached a critical point in this story where trust and betrayal intersect. What would you do if you discovered your partner was leading a double life? The choices we make when faced with deception can alter our life's trajectory forever. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Would you confront them immediately? Gather more evidence? Walk away without explanation? Your insights might help someone facing a similar situation right now. If you're finding value in understanding the psychology behind these complex relationships, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Your engagement helps us continue exploring these crucial human stories that contain lessons for us all. The relationship between Jameer and Shannon evolved through subtle shifts in professional boundaries. What began as harmless workplace conversations in the fall of 2004 gradually transformed as they discovered shared interests and compatible schedules. Their initial interactions were witnessed by numerous colleagues who thought nothing of a police officer and dispatcher developing a friendship. Shannon later testified that Jameer initiated their first personal meeting outside work, a coffee after their shifts ended at midnight. This pattern continued for several weeks, with late-night conversations extending longer each time. By November, these meetings had moved to more private locations, including Shannon's apartment after she put her child to bed. According to court testimony, Jameer presented his relationship with Denita as troubled and likely to end soon. He described the engagement as a commitment he felt pressured to maintain while emotionally moving on. This narrative gave Shannon permission to deepen their connection without confronting the moral implications of their actions. Phone records revealed the intensity of their communication, sometimes exchanging over 20 calls in a single day. Text messages recovered during the investigation showed increasingly intimate exchanges, with plans made around Jameer's visits to Durham to see Denita. The deception required careful coordination, with Shannon becoming an accomplice in maintaining the facade of Jameer's faithfulness. In April 2005, approximately 6 months into their affair, Shannon discovered she was pregnant with Jameer's child. This unexpected development created immediate tension in their relationship. According to Shannon's later statements, she initially viewed the pregnancy as potentially stabilizing their connection, concrete evidence that might compel Jameer to commit fully to her. Jameer's reaction was markedly different. Court records indicate he expressed concern rather than joy, questioning the timing and suggesting they carefully consider all options. Friends of Shannon noted a shift in her demeanor during this period, alternating between hopeful excitement and profound anxiety about the future. The decision to terminate the pregnancy came after several weeks of difficult conversations. Shannon would later describe feeling pressured, claiming Jameer emphasized his inability to support a child financially or emotionally while building his police career. Medical records confirmed the procedure occurred in late May 2005. The aftermath created a profound emotional rift. While Jameer believed this marked a natural conclusion to their physical relationship, Shannon interpreted the shared experience as a painful but binding connection. In therapy sessions following Denita's murder, Shannon revealed that she viewed the abortion as a sacrifice she had made for their relationship, one that entitled her to greater commitment from Jameer in return. Following the abortion, colleagues at the Greensboro Police Department noticed concerning changes in Shannon's behavior. She began manipulating her dispatch schedule to align with Jameer's patrol shifts, creating opportunities for contact that he increasingly tried to avoid. Security footage from the department parking lot captured her waiting in her vehicle for hours after a shift ended, coinciding with his departure times. Shannon's digital footprint revealed escalating fixation. Her internet search history showed repeated queries of Denita's name, examinations of NCCU's photography department website, and multiple visits to Denita's public social media profiles. She created fake accounts to view content that would otherwise be restricted to friends. Most alarming were the drive-bys documented through cell tower pings. Shannon's phone registered connections to towers near Denita's apartment complex on at least 14 occasions in the months preceding the murder, all at times when she had no legitimate reason to be in Durham. Neighbors reported seeing a burgundy SUV matching Shannon's vehicle parked across from the Campus Crossings apartments multiple times in December 2006. The purchase of a .38 caliber revolver in November marked a dangerous escalation. The gun dealer later testified that Shannon appeared calm and methodical during the transaction, mentioning her role as a single mother needing protection while working night shifts. Dawn broke over Durham at 7:15 on January 4, 2007. Security footage from Campus Crossings apartments captured Denita's lights turning on at 6:45 as she began her morning routine. Phone records show she texted Jameer at 6:52. "Good morning. Big presentation today. Call you after." He responded 4 minutes later with encouragement. By 7:30, Denita had showered and dressed in professional attire, a gray blazer over a blue blouse, dark slacks, and low heels, preparing for her photography portfolio presentation scheduled for 9:30 that morning. Her laptop was packed with her latest work, including images she had captured over winter break. Meanwhile, cell tower data placed Shannon Crawley's phone traveling from Greensboro to Durham between 6 and 7 that morning. Traffic cameras on Interstate 40 captured her burgundy SUV passing through Burlington at 6:25. She arrived in the vicinity of Campus Crossings shortly before 7:45, parking in a visitor spot with clear visibility of Denita's building. At 7:58, Denita left her third-floor apartment, locking the door behind her. Her tote bag contained her portfolio, a water bottle, and a small gift for her academic advisor. As she descended the concrete stairwell, Shannon approached from below, having entered through an unlocked side entrance. The women had never met face-to-face before this moment. At precisely 8:02, the single gunshot that ended Denita's life echoed through the complex. The bullet struck the back of her head at close range, causing her to tumble down the remaining stairs. Her belongings scattered across the steps as Shannon fled the scene. Michael Hedgepeth had worked maintenance at Campus Crossings for 3 years. That morning, he was replacing exterior light fixtures near Building C when he heard what he initially thought was a car backfiring. The distinct crack prompted him to pause his work and look around. In his 911 call, recorded at 8:04 a.m., he reported, "I heard something that sounded like a gunshot, and now I see a woman rushing to leave the complex." Hedgepeth provided the first description of the suspect. Light-skinned black female, tall, maybe 5'10", with her hair pulled back in a ponytail. She's driving a burgundy SUV, looked like a Ford Explorer. This description would prove crucial in the early investigation. Another witness, groundskeeper Thomas Jenkins, encountered the burgundy SUV as it sped toward the exit. Jenkins later testified that he made brief eye contact with the driver, noting her blank expression and tight grip on the steering wheel. Concerned by her erratic driving, he pulled alongside her vehicle and asked if everything was okay. The woman merely nodded without speaking before accelerating away. Graduate student Aisha Williams, returning from an early morning jog, noticed a tall woman moving with purpose from Building C around 8:05. Williams recalled the woman appeared composed but in a hurry, which seemed unusual but not alarming in the moment. None of these witnesses immediately connected what they saw to a potential crime. It wasn't until nearly 2 hours later that Denita's body would be discovered, giving Shannon critical time to distance herself from the scene. At 9:57 a.m., resident Corey Smith discovered Denita's body while taking trash to the dumpster. His 911 call captured his shock. "There's someone at the bottom of the stairs in Building C. I think they fell. Wait, there's blood. Oh my God, I think she's been hurt badly." First responders arrived within 6 minutes, but paramedics quickly determined Denita had been deceased for approximately 2 hours. Police immediately secured the area, establishing a perimeter that extended throughout the complex. Detective Marcus Wilson, the first investigator on scene, noted the precision of the single gunshot and the absence of struggle marks, suggesting a targeted attack rather than random violence. By 11:30 a.m., news crews had gathered outside the complex as students watched from windows and balconies. Campus police at NCCU were notified, and classes in Denita's department were canceled as word spread. Her identity remained protected until family notification was complete, but rumors began circulating among residents who recognized her scattered belongings. Detective Marcus Wilson's first call after securing the crime scene was to Denita's emergency contact, her fiancé, Jameer Stroud. The notification came as Jameer was completing his overnight shift at the Greensboro Police Department. His colleagues described his reaction as one of genuine shock and distress. He arrived at the Durham Police Department by 1:30 that afternoon, still in uniform, visibly shaken. During initial questioning, Jameer provided his alibi. He had been on duty until 6 a.m., then returned to his apartment to sleep. When detectives asked about anyone who might wish to harm Denita, Jameer hesitated before mentioning Shannon Crawley. He described their past relationship as brief and casual, downplaying its significance while acknowledging it had ended poorly. This revelation shifted the investigation's direction immediately. Detective Wilson noted in his case file, "Subject appeared reluctant to discuss Crawley, but eventually disclosed relationship that ended approximately 7 months prior. Subject indicated Crawley had difficulty accepting the breakup." Phone records requested that afternoon revealed a troubling pattern. Shannon had called Jameer 23 times in the week before the murder, with most calls going unanswered. By 6 p.m. on January 4th, detectives had dispatched officers to Shannon's workplace at the Greensboro Emergency Dispatch Center for preliminary questioning. The vehicle descriptions provided by witnesses became a critical focus of the investigation. 3 separate accounts mentioned a burgundy SUV leaving campus crossings around 8 a.m. Department of Motor Vehicles records confirmed Shannon Crawley owned a 2003 Ford Explorer in red fire metallic, a deep burgundy color matching witness descriptions. When officers located the vehicle in the Greensboro Emergency Services parking lot on January 5th, they noted fresh mud on the wheel wells consistent with recent highway driving. A search warrant executed that evening revealed more damning evidence. A campus map of NCCU with Denita's apartment building circled, a receipt for a car wash dated January 4th at 10:17 a.m., and a parking stub from a Durham garage timestamped 8:45 a.m. Most significantly, forensic technicians discovered microscopic blood spatter on the driver's side door, too small to be visible to the naked eye but detectable through luminol testing. DNA analysis would later confirm this blood belonged to Denita Smith. Shannon Crawley's initial interview with detectives on January 5th was riddled with inconsistencies that quickly eroded her credibility. She claimed to have been at a pediatrician's appointment with her child at 8 a.m. on January 4th, but the doctor's office confirmed her appointment had been scheduled for 10:30, which she had missed without calling. When questioned about her relationship with Jameer, Shannon minimized their connection, describing it as just friends who occasionally had lunch. This directly contradicted phone records showing thousands of calls and texts between them over 14 months. Most damaging was her denial of ever owning a firearm, a claim disproven within hours when detectives located purchase records from Carolina gun runners dated November 12, 2006. Shannon's story continued to evolve during subsequent interviews. By January 7th, she admitted to being in Durham, but claimed she was there to meet Jameer. When presented with evidence of the gun purchase, she acknowledged buying the weapon, but insisted she had sold it to a woman at church, whose name she couldn't recall. Cell tower data placed her phone within 200 yards of the murder scene at the exact time of the shooting, contradicting every version of her story. The final blow to her defense came when her child's babysitter confirmed Shannon had dropped off her daughter at 6 a.m., saying she needed to take care of something important in Durham. Shannon Crawley's trial began on January 18, 2010, 3 years after Denita's murder. The Durham County Courthouse filled with family members from both sides as prosecutors presented their case. Over 8 days, jurors heard testimony from 37 witnesses, including Jameer Stroud, who spent 6 hours on the stand detailing the relationship that led to obsession. Shannon's defense team attempted to shift blame onto Jameer, suggesting he was the actual killer and had framed Shannon. This strategy collapsed when surveillance footage from the Greensboro Police Department confirmed his presence at work during the murder. The jury deliberated for just 4 hours before returning a unanimous guilty verdict on January 29th. Judge Ronald Stevens immediately sentenced Shannon to life in prison without possibility of parole. As the verdict was read, Sharon Smith clutched a photograph of her daughter while addressing Shannon directly. "Because of what you did, there's a void. You took her away from me. Someday I may forgive you, but right now I don't." This tragic story reminds us how quickly jealousy can transform into deadly obsession. Denita's life was cut short because she never knew about the threat lurking in the shadows of her relationship. The warning signs were there, not for her to see, but for those around Jameer who witnessed Shannon's escalating behavior. If you found this analysis valuable, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Explosive True Crime Stories. Your engagement helps us continue bringing these important narratives to light, stories that contain lessons that could potentially save lives. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Did you recognize warning signs from relationships in your own life? Have you ever encountered obsessive behavior that concerned you? Your experiences might help others identify dangerous situations before they escalate. Join us next week as we examine another case that challenges our understanding of human psychology and the complex dynamics that can lead to tragedy.